I'll start with the Ciclovia program. You've all heard about it, and I think that you're pretty familiar with what it is, the Open Streets program. This started in Bogota in the 70s, and it consists in the temporary closure of streets to cars for exclusive use by cyclists, pedestrians, dogs, whatever. And the purpose, and this I find interesting, this is from their webpage, so this is the official purpose of the program, is for citizens to enjoy the streets, to use the streets to enjoy a safe and free space for recreation. So there's no thing there of like, let's increase physical activity levels, let's provide a healthy space. Health is not there. There's recreation, but it has to do more with enjoyment, with it being free, so there's a strong element of social equity there, and something safe, which is a big concern in cities like Bogota and cities like Mexico City, et cetera. Where can we find safe places for recreation or just to enjoy? So the whole purpose of this is more enjoyment, social equity, and this is really how it started in the 70s. As you all know, this program has expanded massively in the Americas and also beyond. Here in the US, there's many cities that do it, but of course not with the frequency and not at the same level as it happens in Bogota or in other cities. In Bogota, it's closed every the streets are closed every Sundays and every public holiday. So there's approximately 70 events per year, and it's something that people count on, that they know it's going to happen. It's not this event that occurs once every 6 months and it's a huge deal. It's just part of their lives. The street network consists of 113 kilometers, and it's really a network, so you can loop around your city one morning, and it has up to 1 million or over 1 million users per event. So this is massive. Apart from closing the streets, there are spaces along the streets which provide free classes, basically, or dance classes, aerobics, etc., just activities that you can participate in, no registration needed, you go in, you go out, and that's it. So as physical activity researchers, or in my case, as physical activity researchers, we have assessed its impact on physical activity. And this is really the work of Olga Lucia Sarmiento and her group. And I'm not gonna go into the specific details here, but as you can see, it has had a positive impact on physical activity for multiple generations, and that's great, and that's great for us. This data has been presented to politicians and to the people that make the decisions of keeping these programs, expanding these programs, using them in their own cities. And they may have some relevance and some impact for them, but what else has the program done that may be of interest to the people that decide whether this needs to be done, or that may be interested to potential users? So it has had other benefits to the city. For example, there has been an evaluation on its effect on pollution. So during a normal day, and I'm sorry that this is a little bit light here, but if you can see, I don't think this pointer works. If you can see the gray lines, those are the regular pollution levels in a day without a ciclovia. And then that little black line on the bottom is what happens during a day of ciclovia. And this is not just during the hours of the ciclovia, this extends for the whole day. So this is quite impressive. What about noise levels? Same pattern. So we can see that this program is having benefits way beyond, this is also health actually, but it's not really what we are evaluating. Traffic. Traffic is a huge thing for Latin American cities. Politicians are always trying to solve problems related to traffic. Well, here we can see that during a normal day, we have about 5,000 vehicles in this segment. This is a single street segment that was assessed. During a Ciclovia day in the morning, you have about 4,000 people that attend the Ciclovia in this segment. This is a specific street segment that they assessed, but it also has an impact after the Ciclovia. So the street is closed during the morning, and then in the afternoon it reopens, but less cars go through it. So we're having an impact in traffic for the rest of the day just by using the Ciclovia. And that's probably why the effect on pollution that we're seeing and the effect on noise. But we also see that this has an impact in social equity. Regularly, this street segment can only be used by people that have cars, which, as I said, in Bogota, car ownership is less than 30% in Bogota. While during a Ciclovia day, it can be accessed by bicyclists, by pedestrians, by people that are using other wheels, I guess, or sorts of transportation. So it just opens the space for everybody to use it. So here are some quotes of Ciclovia users, and many times these quotes are more powerful for stakeholders and decision makers, or for the public in other places that may be thinking, is this good or not for my city? Should I support an initiative to have a Ciclovia in my city? Sometimes we show them all the data, and that's not too convincing, but you see what people that use it think. The top one, Bogota doesn't have a coast or the sea, but it has a Ciclovia. It creates this sort of pride, like, you know, that this is where we go for recreation. The second one, it's not about the bike, it's about the community. And I think that that one is very powerful, because we may care a lot about the effect on physical activity and health, but really what they care is about socializing and creating a sense of community. The Ciclovia provides a safe place for the whole family to enjoy the city. So we're seeing the safety thing, but also that the whole family can be there. So it's an impact on multiple generations. They can enjoy the architectural beauty of the city that you usually can't do if you're just driving by or inside public transit. And the last one really relates to social equity. It lets me enjoy parts of my city, which I usually don't have access to. So now I'm going to move on to the other very good program. And these two programs aren't the only things happening in other countries that may have a very good impact on physical activity or other health behaviors. These are just the two programs that have been most assessed and that we have more evidence that work to increase physical activity, but there's a lot of innovation going on in the world with respect to strategies to increase physical activity that are stemming from the motivation for them is social equity or just enjoyment, social justice, etc. So this program, Academia da Cidade, from Recife, Brazil, it originated in the city of Recife. And academia basically means a gym or a recreation facility, but it's the city gym. So usually academia is understood in Portuguese as a gym that I pay a membership for. But here, by adding, you know, the city gym, this is a free program. So it originated in Recife, and the purpose was to improve health and quality of life without financial costs. So in this program, we do see that the city thought of it as a way to promote health, but it also has one of its main components is that it doesn't incur any financial costs for the people. It has this component, just as a Ciclovia, of rescuing public spaces. And the main focus was to target the program to underprivileged neighborhoods. And so it has two main themes. One is that they rehabilitate spaces that are torn down, that have not been well kept. And these include community centers, public plazas or squares, parks, beaches, but also very unconventional spaces, such as unused parking lots, parcels, just any space of land that is accessible for a community. And once they have rehabilitated it, like this picture here, down there, they provide free fitness or recreation classes, but that are delivered by professional instructors. So this also has a really strong social equity component. This program was extensively evaluated as part of the GUIA project, and I recommend that you visit the GUIA webpage because it has a lot of very useful resources for these types of things. And basically, it was very effective. It was very effective in increasing the levels of physical activity of people living in these neighborhoods. And it has a positive effect on meeting physical activity guidelines, both for past users and current users when compared to people that have never used the program or had access to it. Jim already showed this. He sort of used all of my slides. I'm joking. Yeah.
Like I said, this session is a good summary.
Yeah. But basically, this program started in one city. And it had a lot of evaluation, which I'm glad that Steve brought this up, because I also think that it should be a very important component of the whole culture of health statement, that assessment and evaluation is very important, because we can generate evidence that these things work and that may support their reproducibility or sustainability. And not just that they work for health, but that they work to improve quality of life in general, to increase social equity, and many other things that people care about. So I think that assessment should be included, and not just assessment of what we think is important, but what others that have the power to make these programs happen think is important. So this was assessed, and this was not just assessed, but it was wildly popular among citizens. And let's face it, politicians based a lot of their decisions based on popularity. And this was a very good program. Most programs that give underprivileged people access to something that they didn't have, and that provides enjoyment, and that provides something that they value, which may not be health, but it's just socializing, enjoyment, etc., becomes very popular. So they decided to expand the program, and the expansion happened very fast. And as Jim said, they allocated $1 billion to benefit 4,000 cities across Brazil with this same program. And the program has expanded beyond Brazil. This idea has become very popular across the Americas, all the way to the US, where it's been used and tested. And it also helps, the fact that it expands also helps to generate a sense of pride in the city that originated it, which I think is very important. To generate public demand for things, we need people to really take ownership of the programs or the activities or the spaces that their city has. Once they really adopt these things as their own, and not something that's the government's or some organization, but it's mine, they really end up supporting it a lot. And the fact that there it says the US copied our Academia de Cidade, that really generates a lot of pride.